Good morning. My name is Bishal Thapa from Spartan Security, and welcome to my brief overview on a recent OSINT project on IBM. We're going to discuss our key findings on a high-level detail. Let me walk you through my report a little bit. The first page has contents of the rest of the report. Let's take a brief overview on what OSINT really is. OSINT stands for Open Source Intelligence, and it is a process of gathering information that is available from sources that are public, free, and legal. Everybody has used Google or searched something on the internet at some point, but very few people realize the treasure trove of information they can find on the internet. The information is not just limited to internet data, but it can vary from anything like public records, building permits, personal records like credit card reports, and news periodicals, from press releases, radio, television, job announcement, etc. OSINT is also considered a primary step in ethical hacking or penetration testing. It helps someone to design an attack later. The information gathered from open source intelligence can be used to create an attack surface and later on identify and attack possible targets. Let me demonstrate you some of the real life scenarios that OSINT intelligence gathering has resulted in some devastating scenarios. So this is a news published in March 30th, 2016. And this is when there was a bunch of Iranian hackers, and one of them used Google dorking to actually find vulnerabilities in a dam in Rye Brook, New York, and actually carried out a successful exploit. What is Google dorking? Google dorking is using Google search engine to search for specific strings that can dig out very specific type of files. As you can see from this example, you're searching the nasa.gov site and digging out PDF files. Another such example is the hacking of CIA Director John Brennan. John Brennan was also hacked in a similar way when a 20-year-old guy actually reverse looked up his telephone number and then proceeded from there. So in reality, there can be a lot of damage that can be done by information that is out there in public. Let me walk you through some of my findings on IBM servers. So I used a lot of web resources to do searches on IBM servers, mail exchange servers, host records, and internet IP addresses. And I found the following information that could be used in enumeration and exploitation by a hacker. They can use the data obtained here, let's say the IP addresses and host. They can use this information readily available in the public to carry out numerous threats to the company, such as they can discover the host and devices on network, applications and banners, network shares and services, the directory structures, username and group, and eventually password. So as you can see, I have obtained a domain mapping where we can see the geographical location of various domains for IBM. This is a bit hard to see, but we can obtain this in a large format also. We have more IP address information here obtained from BGP .he.net. This gives you a range, the company, and the location that they're using it at. And the HTTP server gives you information about what kind of servers and their web application front, where we can, study if there are any vulnerabilities for the certain kind of servers they're using. And this is more domain registration information where we can find who registered it, under whose name, and the contact information, when does it expire, that kind of thing. And then the next phase is social engineering. For that, I gathered up a lot of information from just one website, that was linkedin.com. And from here, we can see employee statistics at first, where the total number of employees registered on LinkedIn is 522,666, which might not be the true number of employees that actually work there, but it can be pretty close. The geographical location of where they live, where they studied, as you can see, a majority of them from India, so we can guess a lot of the job is outsourced, or majority of operations are happening from India. And then the second is the US. And this gives you diversity of what kind of information, uh, what kind of job are they doing, and then what kind of education background they are from. And further, it shows some skill levels. And one of the key factors in gathering information is um, that relates information on people. So as we can see, like once you have an account, you can dig into LinkedIn and actually see their profile, which gives you a lot of other information, such as their full legal name and um, their interests, their positions, their connections, and we can derive a lot of information from them. And that information can be used to pivot into other social media and find other useful information, such as family ties and, you know, other life related information, which can be used to do to target a convincing social engineering attack, because the more information you have on them, the more convincing you can be to carry on an attack, like a spear phishing attack, or like a spam mail or something like that, to gain access. So any threat actors who has the information can actually carry out a successful mission from there. And those were just normal employees, but now we can come down to the high level targets. These are the company CEO, and we can also, once we go into their profile, we can get a lot of information as where they studied, their degree, where they lived, contact information, phone numbers possibly, and we can use that also in carrying out social engineering attacks. And then the next criteria is geolocations. Um, I used a website called Craft to actually find this, and these are easily available on the internet to locate various locations and their street addresses as well. As you can see, um, these are all the United States locations for IBM office, where the headquarters is in Armonk, and we can view them on the map as well. And then the second bigger operation, there's only 2 offices in India, and we can locate them on the map as well. And from there on, we can dig deeper into the IBM World Headquarters, which is located in 1 New Orchard Road, Armonk, New York, zip code. And this shows us the aerial overview, and it also shows of like the strategic location, as it's not closer to any major highways or freeways, so it's in a safe and secluded location. And on further looking for images for the facility, I found that someone had posted um, their visit to IBM on Foursquare.com, which showed in greater details of what the facility looked like and what kind of physical means of security are held in place. And upon digging further, found phone numbers which are not out there in public and needed some extra investigations into it. And these are some internal phone numbers that I have acquired. And there was a kind of an email aggregation website which gave the probability of the highest probability of an email being correct for IBM.com. And I did do some diggings and actually found some information that the first name, last name at IBM.com held accountable, and it was valid. So I included this information. And I also found some information uh, on the technologies used on IBM. From here, you can see what they're using, and combined with the information gathered earlier on host and machine information and server information, we can find on vulnerabilities and increase the attack vector on that. And I could find social media using a tool on Linux, Culture Lock, and I tested them individually. They can give us more information on social engineering techniques as we dig deeper into each of these profiles and who's managing them and stuff like that. The upcoming events was also very easy to find, and some of them are public and some of them are internal events, and one can definitely go, if you want, to one of the public events and actually get a lot closer look. But then you'd probably have to register and stuff. So these were obtained from IBM and LinkedIn websites. And I also decided to check the IBM.com website vulnerability if there are any security flaws. Overall, it was a tightly secured website, but um, the website sslabs.com provided us with a rating and some key weaknesses, which it mentions that the server is using TLS 1.0 and TLS 1.1. That's why it graded it to B. Everything else looks good. And the final page, I've discussed all the methodologies, and if you're interested, you can look it up or ask me later of what each of these tools mean. Or so to conclude, yeah, there is a lot of information that can be out there, and security is not a destination but a journey, and we can always keep improving ourselves for a better security. That's all. Thank you.